Do you remember the time where there were no phones, no TVs, there was no Instagram, no Facebook? So many of you would not remember. So let me give you a little gist. So there was a time before the digital era, the time where love was expressed in letters. Oh yes, they wrote lots of letters. Everyone who was in love with someone either knew how to write or would learn how to read and write just because of love. And then in Africa, you'll be sent to go fetch water from the stream. And you'll go through a particular path. Why? Because there's a particular girl you want to see, or a particular guy you want to see. And you both will talk and laugh and give each other gist about your household and your little friends. And that was it. And when you both were done with school, with secondary school, you would write letters to each other if you're not in the same village or the same small town anymore. You write letters about how your day went, how your week goes. And that was love. I mean, that was it. Loving and expressing love was that simple. A flower, a little love letter, and you're good to go. And then came the digital era, the era where you're with your phone 24/7, you have your WhatsApp accessible, your Instagram, you have Facebook, you have TikTok, and so much became required to be in love. We are no longer in the era where a love letter would suffice for a week or a month till the next time they write. But because there's a phone in your hand every minute of the day, your partner now demands that you are more available. I like to believe that the fact that in the time before the digital era, they valued every minute because it was very precious. The letters were worth so much because that's how much you will get of your partner for the next 1 month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 months, depending on how long he stays away or she stays away. And there was so much value attached to it. But now we have so much accessibility, or we are so easily accessed that there's no longer value. But trust me, there's still serious demand on your time. That's why people of this generation now have an issue where when your partner stays for 24 hours without reaching out to you, it's a big deal because they now believe that you have so much time on your hand and you should reach out. Now, I'm not here to say anything about that, but I want us to understand something. I feel to a large extent that the digital era has been a big strain on relationships in the most sincere format. Now we have so many online relationships, we have virtual relationships, we have long distance relationships. And yes, long distance relationship is a beautiful form of relationship. If you know how to do it, you would have a wonderful time. But now there's a big issue with people who have virtual relationships, online relationships, and offline relationships, because people who are online for a reason, maybe due to geography or distance, inter nation, someone in Nigeria in a relationship with someone in Algeria, someone in US, someone in Kenya, and it's almost impossible to see each other as easily as you would have some specific challenges compared to those in an offline relationship. But the disadvantage of the digital era is that we all now want to take our guides from the internet. So you who have you may not see your partner in the next 6 or 1 year. You will be consuming content of people who are together, who are doing intentional loved up content, and you would judge or analyze your own relationship based off this content. The disadvantage of doing this is that you begin to expect from your relationship things that are not idealistic or realistic. So many love content we see are just what they are, content. So many uh, videos and pictures of people in love, expressing love and whatnot are contents. We don't get to see the fight behind the camera, but we build and judge our own relationships based off of what we see and what we hear. Somebody comes out and tells you if your partner goes a day without reaching out to you, dump them, break up with them, and you say, all right, that's what to do. But there could be an actual reason why your partner did not reach out to you in the past 24 hours. But just because you're listening to people who are on the internet to make content, to get views, to get paid, you're destroying what you have. So, if you ask me, I would always still prefer the time before the digital era, the love we had before the digital era. I personally feel that was when it was real love, when it was true love. I am not against love in this era, because I mean, I'm in this era, but I think it's important that we learn to separate real love from love content. It is beautiful to have all the butterflies in your tummy. It's beautiful to have smushy, lovey-dovey, love, sceneries, whatever the word or the English is. But we should learn to separate actual, realistic relationships from what we see on the internet. Like I said, the fact now that we have access to the internet, we have a phone, we have a technology always in our hand, there's the demand to always be available. But realistically, nobody can always be available for you. You also cannot always be available for somebody else, except you are jobless or the other person is jobless. There's always going to be a minute where this person will be occupied. So it's important for us to know why we are reacting and what we are reacting about. But just bear it in mind that the idea of love we see on the internet, the idea of love we see on social media, is not always the case. And these things are done intentionally to cause misunderstandings in relationships, cause chaos in relationships. I feel it's important that we realize that they are just contents and we should consume them as contents. Consume them as contents, build off your relationship on the right basis, on the right foundations, and you'd have a wonderful relationship. Trust me, long distance relationships are possible. You can start off a relationship virtually and it moves into physical, beautiful. You can love from wherever you want. But try to be as careful as possible because it is more dangerous to love now than it was in the other time. Now, one of before I forget, one of the reasons why it's very difficult to love now is the fact that due to the fact that there's always a phone in your hand, because you always have a smartphone in your hand, you can get to build a very strong bond with someone virtually, and it can affect your real life. People get to video call, text, snap, exchange pictures and whatnot. And whatever you invest your time, whoever you consciously dedicate 1 hour, 2 hours to every day, you create an emotional attachment or bond around that person. So let's all be careful so we don't get tangled into the wrong web or the wrong people because it's a dangerous time to be in love. Trust me. Well, like, subscribe, share, and see you next time. Bye.